Saint George, this truly great and glorious martyr of Christ, was born about the year 280 of a Christian family that was wealthy and of noble origin. His father was from Cappadocia, a city of the Eastern Empire in Asia Minor, and his mother was from Palestine. He followed the usual career of a young nobleman and joined the Roman army, where his ability on the battlefield and charm brought him quick promotion. The Emperor Diocletian heard about him and as a result made him a tribune, or an officer in the imperial guard in charge of 1,000 men. Many legends and stories abound regarding this noble saint. One story says that he was a friend of Constantine, another officer who would later become the first Christian emperor. A more popular legend is the account of George slaying a dragon. It happened that St. George was once stationed with the Roman army in Libya in North Africa. In that area, a beast, which was described as a large crocodile with scaled wings, had been ravaging the people and livestock of the countryside. The survivors fled to the town and took shelter behind its walls. The beast settled itself by the city gates and was kept at bay by being offered 2 sheep every day. Once the people had run out of sheep, they decided to offer 1 child every day to the beast. One day, the lot fell on the local ruler's daughter, a girl of only 14. While she was outside the city gates waiting for the beast, George rode by on his horse. On hearing the story, he decided to put an end to this tragedy. When the beast appeared, George wounded it with his lance. He dragged it into the town, and there in the marketplace, cut off its head in front of the cheering crowd. The accuracy and authenticity of the story has never been verified. What is known is that on February 23rd in the year 303, Diocletian proclaimed a formal edict against the Christians. The provisions of this edict, which was published the next day in the marketplace, were that all churches were to be leveled to the ground, all sacred books were to be burned, all Christians who held any honorable rank were not only to be degraded, but to be deprived of civil rights, and all Christians who were not officials were to be reduced to slaves. As the edict was proclaimed, the great church in Nicomedia was being ransacked and destroyed by the imperial guard. George knew he had to act, and so he freed all of his slaves, distributed his wealth to the poor, and prepared himself for martyrdom. He entered Diocletian's palace and publicly rebuked him for his behavior against the Christians. The emperor first tried to seduce him by promises that he would be granted a higher position in the empire. But as these promises failed to attract him, the emperor began to threaten him with severe torture and punishment. While in prison, Diocletian wanted to demolish George's integrity, and so arranged for a very beautiful woman to spend the night with him in prison to try and seduce him. George began to pray, and within a short while he managed to convert her to the Christian faith. By morning she declared that she had found her true bridegroom, Jesus Christ, and with great courage she announced her Christianity to the emperor and his men. She was promptly joined to the body of the other saintly martyrs. After this incident, George was tortured severely. His body was bound, beaten, torn, and scalded to the point of near death. It was even believed by many that he had died several times during each torturous episode, and that Christ had risen him from the dead, which had won over more and more pagan converts who were witnessing the torture. The emperor had a cup of poison given to him to drink. Before drinking, he made the sign of the cross over the cup, and when he had drank it, no harm came to him. During all the torture, George never stopped preaching about the power and virtue of the Christian life. When all methods failed to defeat George's spirit, the emperor invited him to the imperial palace. At the palace, George met Alexandra, Diocletian's wife. She spoke with him, and she too was converted to the Christian faith. That day, Diocletian ended the lives of George, Alexandra, and other Christians who were converted through what they had witnessed. George's remains were taken to his mother's hometown in Palestine, a city called Lydda. Constantine, who ruled after Diocletian and ended the persecution of the Christians, considered George to be a true model of a Christian and ordered a church to be built over his grave. April 23rd is celebrated as the day of the martyrdom of both George and Alexandra. Our Lord Jesus Christ, through the prayers of our Holy Fathers, especially our Father among the saints, St. George, have mercy on us and save us.